horsepower. So this thing is known as the Stone Wagon, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's on the quest for 1,000 horsepower. Should be able to make it happen here about this next pull here. Look at that pretty little thing down in there.
It is a billet wheel.
Gotcha. So billet wheel, S485, 370 cubic inch, iron block, CNC ported LS3 heads. What is that, the Edelbrock? Is that the Victor Senior?
Super Victor.
Super Victor, okay. All right, we're on...
90 millimeters small body.
We're about 20, we're kind of averaging about 19, 20 pounds right now. Because we had a little bit of a high and then a little bit of a low. So yeah, about 18, 19 pounds. Got twin methanol injection and running on 85. 129 pound an hour injectors. See if we can make it happen. So we did make 1,000 horsepower, but we are kind of limited on our boost control, what we can do. We're having some boost fluctuations. We are at the very end of our fuel system. So we have two Walbro 450 inline or in-tank pumps, and we are maxing that out on the E85. Right at about 18 to 20 pounds, she's making upper 900s, and we just hit about 10, 15 right as we were running out of fuel. But quite the monster. Right now, I am in a CTS V1. We have a forged 347 cubic inch motor. Got a set of PRC heads on it, custom small turbo cam, twin 62 millimeter turbos, LS6 intake manifold, and pump gas. And she's making pretty close to about 700 pound-feet of torque. I'll rev it out in the high boost setting and we'll see what we can do. I'm hoping it should probably make a little over 700 pound-feet of torque and about 700 horsepower. We have a visitor.
What kid is this?
Andy, say hi to the kids at home.
What's up, guys? How's everybody out there doing? Y'all want to make some power?
So what do you do with a car with a power adder? What do you do?
Break it?
That's the wrong answer. More
power.
No more boost.
More boost.
We're gonna throw more boost.
Always put more boost to it.
Okay, all right.
Just well, keep putting boost to it until you're happy, and you're never happy. So.
More boost. You heard it from the horse's mouth. All right, we're gonna try that again here. Hey Brady, what do you do with a car that comes with a power adder?
More boost.
Hell yeah, we're teaching this generation right. All right, so on higher boost on this car, we're having a fuel pressure drop. That's what we just verified right there. With the extra load of the boost, the engine's not able, well, the fuel pump's not really able to keep up, so we're consuming everything in the line. On the lower and middle boost, it's been fine, but on the higher boost, it just can't take it, and we're having a fuel pressure drop. So we're gonna have to probably not run the high boost unless we want to melt this thing. So. Okay, so we got a good air fuel, and it starts to lean up right there. We are adding and adding and adding fuel, but this is trying to shut it off in a jiffy so we don't turn this thing into a pile of melted aluminum. What we had seen was the fuel pressure had dropped to about 40 pounds on that little gauge right there. As we go up in boost with a boost reference system, the fuel pressure would rise. On this one, we did not have the case. And as we were adding boost, we dropped way down, more so than what we should be dropping down. So basically, the supply is not rising to meet the demand. So we'll have to end there, about 666 horsepower and 700 pound-feet of torque. We did make 660, I think, on the lower boost, and it's just pretty fun though. I doubt it. There we go.
Oh, shit! Oh my god.
That was better.
Oh yeah.
Vietnam War hero. Pretty awesome. This gentleman's got a pretty cool story. But let's talk about the car. This right here is a forged LSA. We've got a LS3 throttle body. We've got Fasterproms ported cylinder heads, Brian Tooley stage 3 cam, Fasterproms ported blower. We just changed the pulley on it, so we're gonna re-dyno it. I think this car has been about 970s, maybe 980s, at about 140 miles an hour. Full weight car. Daily driver. She's does daily driver duty, and it's a hell of a fun street car for somebody in their late 60s, you know. Definitely a big fan of where the cold air is. That's actually our Fasterproms cold air intake with 4.5 inch. Does pick up the air from a good source down there. We have that blocked off on that side, blocked off right there, and blocked off on the top, so that is kind of coming in nice and clean there and goes right up into the induction. He's got this cover here, kind of wanted to look kind of OEM, but there we go. Got a flex fuel sensor on there, but we're gonna go ahead and just clean it up for that extra pound of boost. Do some street driving with her. $771, $752. Just got to check the air fuel. It's kind of one of those obligatory things that you need to do when you're tuning a car, especially a boosted car, one of these late model boosted cars. Feels pretty good. American muscle. Just don't get the same thing in a small motored Japanese car. It just doesn't happen. Right here we have a C7 Z06 with full bolt-ons. It's actually a customer of mine from Long Island that I had a couple years back, and the car kind of returned to the area here in Pennsylvania. Right now we're kind of just going through it. It's making about 667 and about a little over 700 pound-feet of torque. We're going to take a ride in a little bit. So what we got with our stage 2 results from our Fasterproms build here is totally normal, totally repeatable. It's about 660 wheel and about a little over 700 pound-feet of torque. The car has, you know, I think it's got Texas speed headers. It's got our 231 pulley, Haltech cold air, thermal plates, and our Fasterproms expansion tank. But like I said, completely repeatable results. Pretty much what you should expect with the stage 2 Fasterproms build. What I would like to add to this would be flex fuel and E85, and this thing should be over 700 wheel and probably about 730 pound-feet of torque. That's the combination that I went 980s with. You can probably go about 143 in pretty good weather, but you can probably go 960s if you really launch the car hard enough with a manual trans car. But we're going to go for a test drive, and we're going to have some fun because we're going to make some power. too bad for a 5.3. That time I spun it to like 6,400, so it's got a 300Z with a LS3 in it with heads and cam, making pretty good power right now. This is a LOJ conversions. Super nice, clean stuff. It's got about 369 gears in it. So far, first pull we're making is about 464, 433. We look to be able to make that a little bit better. Obviously, we're gonna tweak her and make her a little bit cleaner, get that air fuel dialed in, and definitely throw a little spark advance at her. Okay, so right there we get a little mass air screen, and a lot of times I recommend pulling that off so that we can get a little bit more airflow through there. We're kind of noticing a little bit of a vacuum on the intake. So we're going to pull that off and hopefully pick up a couple horsepower with that, but don't do it unless you're going to have something tuned. Definitely the time to do it is when you're having it tuned, so you can tweak that air-fuel mixture just right. Just like that. There you go. Doesn't get much cleaner than that. Oftentimes I've thought, if I only had a silo to fill up with just mass air screens, I wonder how full it would be. So that's the only change right there is the mass air screen. It did lean it out, so I'd say half of that is definitely just running it leaner, but 464 to 475, 433 to 436, but definitely a bit leaner of a pull all the way through. But we'll check our vacuum right here and see how much, see if we picked up much of anything there. We're still got some vacuum, but it's definitely a little bit better, just a tiny bit.
Well, it's getting down to 94 before, right?
Yeah, it's still getting down there, but it's taking longer for it to get there. So it is a small restriction that we did alleviate. So that works pretty good, man. All right, so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna squeeze this down to show you what kind of a restriction this is gonna be. So think of this thing as kind of like a little bit of a restrictor. Somewhere in the induction, if we had our little, we would have kind of a moon-shaped limitation to our airflow right there. So, yeah, that's not totally scrunched up, but you get the idea. Ask you guys, do you want to see me versus neighbor in one of these build off? Oh, it's got a little bit leaner, but that could be because the cutouts there. But I mean,
right.
look at the torque though.
Oh yeah, it is crazy.
But it's just, yeah. It's just, it must really be depleting the fuel system though.
Right.
But not bad. I mean, I did pull it just
teasing
a
us.
smidge farther.
Yeah.
I tried to stay in it, and it's definitely scary.
Right. Yeah. No.
It's on the ragged edge there, that's for sure.
I mean, we picked up a bunch of torque.
That's beyond my comfort zone right there.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
That out. That is our 572 with a manual transmission with an LS processor on it. Got a decent air fuel. Doesn't really rev out super high, but it's got just loads of torque down low. Very, very broad. Over 550 pound-feet of torque from, well, probably 2,500 to 5,000. Yep, that's right. 97 degrees. So we got a flex fuel sensor, ported MSD, ported heads, Variam intake. We got full tank of flex fuel, 850cc injectors, probably something about a 240s, 250s camshaft, making pretty good power. 608 and 559 in 97 degree weather. This right here is a 2018 automatic 8-speed Z06 that we just did that has heads and cam, methanol injection, and E85. This one dynoed right here at 868 pound-feet of torque to the tires in 5th gear and 772 horsepower. So anytime I do a dyno tune on a late model supercharged car, I gotta do a road test. I have to make sure that the air fuel is the same, and I have to make sure that everything is dialed in. It's not gonna spark knock or anything like that. It's kind of a responsibility of the job. I just wanted to take you guys for a ride and show you how smooth this thing is, how much power it has. It can easily spin the stock tires over 100 miles an hour, so I'm gonna kind of walk into it. But it is so much fun. It's such a torque sensation, it just shoves you in the seat. If we really had a good set of tires, this thing could run probably a low 9, like a 9.2 or better. Unbelievable car with fantastic drivability. Do it again.